Okay, guys, here we go. Here is the second part. Here's the problems I want you to try. And you can look at these. You're going to see, oh, okay, he did examples like all this stuff, except for problems like number 8. I didn't do anything like 8. Number 18 or 19 for sure I did not do yet. And then number 17, I'm going to see if you guys figure out 17. 17 isn't, after you see what I do on these ones, I want to see if you figure that one out. If not, you can ask me in class. I just want to see what happens there. But there's 20 questions, and here's 20 answers. So like I said, some of these answers here, single number answers, or some of them, there's more than one answer. Remember, some of these will result in 2 answers, and that's okay. You'll notice I wrote everything as a whole number or its fraction style. I didn't write any decimal answers. And just a reminder, take a look at number 11 there. It's 49 over 40, which is improper, or 1 and 9/40. I don't care if you write your answer as an improper or a mix, doesn't matter. I just want it in lowest terms. So, there's the 20 solutions for that. Let's take a look at the remaining examples that I did not do. So I want to go through 3 more. So here we go. This guy right here, I did not do anything that looked like this until the very last problem. But I wanted to make sure that you saw this again. So I say to myself, hey, this thing has a root alone. So I'm going to subasaz. That's square both sides and solve. So I'm going to square that thing, and I get 2x plus 3. What's it equal? Well, this is not the way to do it. We don't get to drop it like it's hot. Do not do that. No, bad news. This means we're going to FOIL. We have to take x minus 6 and square it. It means times itself. Okay? So, we FOIL it. And if we FOIL it, we get this. You can double check my math, but that's what you get. Then you say, hey, I have a quadratic equation to solve. I have something squared in there. And it's always easiest to solve a quadratic as long as the highest powered thing is positive. So that means I'm going to move this to the other side. And I'm going to move this to the other side. If I want to solve it, it's going to be easier if I have x squared, which is positive. Then I'd have minus 14x, and then I would have plus 33 equals nothing, because I moved everything to one side. Now, here is a hint for your test. When you get a quadratic in this, whatever you get, quadratic, squared, I guarantee it'll factor. I guarantee it'll factor. I can't make that guarantee forever, but on this test that you're about to take, this should break down. And it's x times x. That's how I'd get x squared. This guy's positive. So it's either positive times a positive to get 33, or it's a negative times a negative. It's got to be negative to make it a minus 14x. And lo and behold, there's your guy. There's your exit. That's the dude to get this thing to work out. My answer here is 11. My answer here is 3. So I would technically have 2 answers for this. But if you go back to the original, when I say go back to the original, that is before I squared both sides. That's what the original looked like. Plug the number 11 back in. And if you plug 11 back in, you get 2 times 11, that's 22, plus 3 is 25. What's the square root of 25? Well, it equals 5. Hey, if I plug 11 in here, 11 minus 6, that is equal to 5. So 11 is totally valid. But if I plug 3 into my original, let's see what happens there. If I take the original problem and I plug in 3. Well, 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. What's the square root of 9? The square root of 9 is 3. But if I plug 3 into this side, 3 take away 6 is negative 3. Wait a minute. Square root of 9 does not equal negative 3. This guy is not valid. So here's the deal. If an answer is what we call extraneous or apparent, there's two different ways to say it, it means it's not really an answer. It is totally not an answer, so there we go. 11 is the only answer I'd want you to write on the test. So you would say x equals 11. Even though you got two answers, doesn't mean they're good. So let's take a look at this one, because here's where it starts to get a little bit beefier. Now, this guy is still a razzbazazzer, but you'll notice if you look at the practice problems I'm going to have you guys work on, these are the toughest ones. They are. They require the most work from you, but there's only like 3 or 4 of these out of 20 of them. But here's the key. As long as there is a root alone, doesn't matter. Well, the other guy's not alone. All you need is one root by itself. You're going to razzbazazz. So the root is alone. So I'm going to take this side here. I'm going to square it. I'm going to take this side here and square it. Look at that. This side is easy. When you square a square root, you get the creamy filling. You get this. But here's where this one gets gnarly. You got to foil that thing. You cannot drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's hot. You can't do that. It's breaking the rules. Whoops. So what do I do instead? I have to foil this thing. So I'm going to take rad x plus 5 minus 1, and I'm going to multiply it by itself. Rad x plus 5 minus 1. It's not as bad as it looks. It really isn't. But let's just clean this thing up. When you take rad x plus 5 times rad x plus 5, you get exactly what you think you would, x plus 5. When I do it here, though, I get minus 1 times that. That means I have minus 1 of these. Outside, stay outside. If I do it here, I'm going to get another minus 1 of these. And then last but not least, negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. So let's clean this up. Let's make this smaller and more compact. I have x. I have a 5 and I have a 1. I have 6. I have negative 1 of these, minus 1 more of these. I have minus 2 of these. That's what I have. Let that sink into your brain. All I'm doing is smushing it down, making it smaller. All of this junk equals this. That's what it equals. Do you see that by doing that, I have a root that I must get alone? I'm going to get the root alone. How am I going to do that? I'm going to get this out of my face. I'm going to get this out of my face. I will then end up with, what's over here? 2x minus 14. What does it equal? It equals negative 2 of these. So I'm almost done. I almost got the rad by itself, but I don't. But here is why I've been trying to preach to you guys some certain things to help you out in the long run. Here's one of them. I'm going to divide by negative 2. Then the root's alone, but that means I have to divide this by negative 2. Do I want to keep my negatives in the bottom? No, I don't. I want to put my negatives through the top. That's one thing I've been trying to say as we've worked. What's the other thing? Do you guys see that all of this stuff here is reducible? 2 goes into every single one of those chunks. So let me get that out of your way again, because it's kind of messy with all my little circles. But I'm going to take the negative and put it through the top. Let me do that first. Then I am going to reduce all this stuff. Whoop, 14, not 4. Then I am going to reduce all this stuff. 2 goes into every single, so I end up with negative x plus 7. What does it equal? It equals this. And guess what? Now it looks just like example 1 did. Now it looks like this guy. So what's my move? Well, I rasbasazed, so I'm going to do it again. Subasaz. Square both sides and solve. Subasaz. If I square this side, I get I get x plus 5. This part over here, bam, done deal. But if I square this side, it's again, I have to FOIL. So I would say, what do I get when I do negative x plus 7 times itself? I'm going to get x squared. I'm going to get a minus 7x. I'm going to get another minus 7x. And then I'm going to get a 7 times 7, that's 49. So what do I get on this left side of my problem? On the left side of my problem, I end up with x squared minus 14x plus 49. What does it equal? It equals x plus 5. Do you guys see that we have a squared in this problem? So what I am guaranteeing to you on this test is, if you have a problem that looks like this, it should factor when you get to the end. But let's finish this. I got to move the x. I got to move the x. I got to move the 5. I got to move the 5. Why am I moving everything to that side? Because I want to have the highest powered thing equal, or sorry, highest powered thing be positive, set it equal to 0. Wham! And then, hey, it looks like I'm going to get another 11 thing in here. That's just coincidence. Isn't that right? I think that's how it breaks. I think that's the exact way this thing factors. Those are my two answers. But are both of these answers correct answers? How do you know? You go back to the original. So the original problem was before I did any of this stuff to it. So I'm going to take away the stuff I did to it. This was the original. Come on. Come on. There we go. This dude right here. I'm going to tell you right now, if I plug 11 in here, that means 3 times 11, that's 33. 33, take away 8 is 25. What is the square root of 25? It's 5. Plug 11 in over here. What's 11 plus 5? It's 16. What's the square root of 16? It's 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. This side over here, when I plug 11 into it, I get 5. This side over here, when I plug 11 into it, I get 3. I don't think that's true. So I would go down here and say, you are not a valid answer, 11. No bueno. But if I plug 4 in, 4 was my other answer. Let's go back. I'm going to get rid of some of this mess. If I put a 4 in here, then 3 times 4 is 12. 12 minus 8 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. On this side, I would plug in 4. 4 goes in. 4 plus 5 is 9. Square root of 9 is 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. That side equals that side. That is valid. I have checked it. My answer is x equals 4. You can see my last example is right here. So here's the deal. This is the only thing I haven't done. We got one last thing. So let's do this thing. I'm going to move this over. What? You can do that? You better believe I can do that. I moved that thing over because I need to rasbasaz. I got to get the root alone. Square both sides and solve. That's what I got to do. Root alone, square both sides and solve. So here's what I did. I moved that thing. This would be the problem I want to solve now. So at this point in time, I'd like you to pause it and see if you can just work it out. When you get to a step where you feel a little bit non-confident, maybe just watch and see what I do. But see if you can figure this one out all the way to the end without my help. So pause it, try and work this out. Then hit play. I'm going to assume you paused it and just hit play. So here we go. I'm just going to go through this one. I got to square both sides. If I square this side, I get 2x plus 3. If I square the other side, I have to FOIL it. And if I FOIL it, whoops, I don't know why I did that. Put it there. I will get this statement, which I'm going to do now. If I FOIL it, I get 4. And then I get 2 of them. I get another 2 of them. And then I do this times that, I get that. Rad x plus 2 times rad x plus 2, I get x plus 2. Let's combine stuff and make it smaller. I get an x. I have a 4 and a 2 I can put together. I call that a 6. I have 2 of these plus 2 more of those. I have 4 of those. And that means I have to get the root alone so I can square both sides and solve. So here, I'm going to move this. I'm going to move this. I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it. I like to move it. Then I'm going to get x minus 3 equals 4 times rad x plus 2. And this is where I figured you might have stopped and freaked out and went, what do I do here? Because I can't divide that thing by 4. You might have done that and then said, I better check the video and see if I'm right. You were right. If you got it this far and then you just kind of lost it, you're still correct. Here's what you just did. You got this root by itself. You did. I'm going to rewrite it so it looks like this, so I have a little bit more room on my screen. I'm going to square this. I'm going to square this. And you might go, well, you can't do that. Sure you can. It's just numbers and letters. If I square this side, I get the creamy middle. Yay, delicious. But over here, what does that mean? It means FOIL. But it's got a 4 in the bottom. That's okay. In the top part, you're going to be doing this times this. That's what you're doing in the top. In the bottom, you're going to be doing this times this in the bottom. So you're going to get a 16. It's okay. 16 is a number. Well, what do I do? Well, let's FOIL the top. If I FOIL in the top, I will get x squared minus 6x plus 9. Well, the spooky part, I got a 16 in the bottom. And then you lose your mind. You're like, I don't know what to do. You put a 1 under this and say, hey, this is a proportion. This is a proportion. You learned how to do these in the 6th grade. They didn't look this gnarly. That would have made you cry in the 6th grade. But I can cross multiply, set them equal to each other. If I cross multiply, 1 times this is this. And on the other side, 16 times that is 16x plus 32. And once again, I see that I have a quadratic. The highest powered thing is already positive, so I'm going to move it. I like to move it. And then I have what? I have an x squared. Whoop, x squared. Negative 6x minus 16 more is negative 22x. That's what I have. And then 9 take away 32. What is that? 9 take away 32. I think it's 23. God, why am my brain is drawing a blank here. But I don't want to get this close to the end and screw it up. So I'm going to say, what is 9 minus 30? It is 23. It's negative 23. What's that equal? 0. And then I go, well, how do I get that to work out? You said everything would factor. It does. Everything I give you in this section, I guarantee it's going to factor because that is how you factor that. And then what are your two answers? Your answers are 23 and negative 1. Your answers are 23 and negative 1. Let's see, are they both valid? I don't know. Let's go back. What was the original in this problem? Because this problem started way up here. I'm going to get rid of the stuff that I added into it. And I'm going to plug in my numbers. So what are my two answers that I am going to try and plug into this? One of my answers I got was 23, and the other one was negative 1. Let me make sure that's true. Yes, 23 and negative 1. So let's plug it in. If I plug in 23, 2 times 23 is 46. 46 plus 3 is 49. The square root of 49 is 7. Over here I'd have 7. So if I plug in 23, 23 plus 2 is 25. What is the square root of 25? It's 5. 5 plus 2, that's 7. That side equals that side. If I plug in negative 1, let's go back. I'm going to now plug in negative 1. If I plug in negative 1, 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, plus 3 is 1. What is the square root of 1? It is 1. If I plug negative 1 in here, negative 1 plus 2 is 1. The square root of 1 is 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. That is not true. You are a bad guy. The nice guy, the good guy. The good guy is 23. This guy's bad, okay? Like that Billie Eilish song. That's a bad guy, right? Bad guy. That's my answer. Let's call this a day. Let's call this a video because those are 3 examples of the ones you did not see in Part A. Why? Because they're gnarlier, they involve foiling and everything, but do remember, if your final result will not factor in some way, shape, or form, you did something wrong. All right, the practice problems, remember, they're here. There's the 20 practice problems I want you to do. There's the answer key. And remember, if you get stuck, you can always ask me questions when we're in class together. All right. Bye-bye.